you've built your organization, the HSSE, the Hariharan's
Right.
School of Success Education. And yes, of course, building an organization and going through an entrepreneurial journey for all this time would have required a lot of application and a lot of activity, various other things that one cannot envisage until one is on the journey. And so I'm glad that you've asked me to partner you in this talk today, where
Thank
you'll
you.
be talking about these five important points that you've highlighted.
Right.
Begins with, like everybody says, have a goal. So you have transformed that into a mission. And then think like an entrepreneur. You've you've had your mission, you think like an entrepreneur, now you need to sell. And once you sell, you then need to scale it up. And the need of the hour is to go digital. So it's very wonderfully, you know, uh, enumerated these 5 points that you've had, and it excites me to know how this journey was and how you've taken it up. So over to you, Mr. Hariharan.
Thank you. Thank you, Dilip, and good evening and namaste to everyone. It is such a pleasure to be with all of you this evening and just continuing with my series of interactions and engagements with people at large and with the training community. I'm a very passionate trainer myself, passionate speaker, passionate writer, and a passionate meditator, Reiki. So there are little multiple dimensions to what I do because that's how I like to lead my life and I enjoy doing that. And I'm really delighted to be with all of you today. So my very specific area of where I'm going to be speaking about today is essentially what are the 5 things that freelance trainers need to look at to grow their business. And I want to tell you something. Breaking news. I don't have any magic formula here. it's the hard way that I have grown to whatever extent I have, and it's the hard way that me and my team are growing together, and it's the hard way that I'm going to suggest to all of you. So I hope you're prepared for that, and I want to be very upfront about it because I know this topic is very exciting. Oh, what are the 5 ways in which I can grow my business? How can I make my business 3x? How can I make my business 10x? How can I make my business 5x? I know these are very popular topics. And I have gone through this whole cycle over the last 11 years as an entrepreneur, as a freelance trainer. So so you see, once you're a trainer, you're a trainer. Whether you build whether you build an organization which is scalable or you don't build an organization which is scalable, you remain a freelancer all your life because that's the romance, isn't it? It's the romance of being in the classroom. It's about the romance of being able to digitally talk to people. So that part of me is never really going to ever go away anywhere. It's always going to be there. So there is the personal excuse me. So there is of course the personal element, which is what you are good at, your skill sets, your talents. And the second is the scalability part. It's the ability to build an organization. It's the ability to work with people. It's the ability to have an ecosystem. It's the ability to make it scalable. And I have been very fascinated by what I've seen of what trainers have done over the last so many years, like me, and I'm referring to typically soft skill behavioral trainers who do a lot of corporate training, who probably do a lot of open workshops, who are good in maybe areas like, let's say you specialize as an NLP trainer, or you specialize in some form of behavioral training or some form of soft skills training. So what is the journey all about? What is important for all of us to understand is we all have competencies, we all have skill sets, and we all want to train. We all want to be talking. We would love to hear our own voice, isn't it? Yes, we do talk a lot about listening skills, but as you know, your spouse will always tell you that, I don't think you're a good listener. So how did you become so how are you asking your participants to become a good listener? So the point here I'm trying to make here is that there is this element of wanting to be a star, wanting to be in front of an audience. And I think that's so beautiful. It's a great thought. That's why we left our jobs. That's why we came out of our comfort zones and we set up our own freelance journey. And as soon as we started the journey, and I can vouch for this. I was having a conversation with a friend many years back, and he said the first year of your business is always beautiful. Things fall into place, and suddenly, everything new is very exciting. So the first year, there is no problem. Your real problems start in the next year. And I think I had some kind of a similar experience there. My first year was pretty okay, but the challenges really started to happen in the next year. And it's been a great learning experience. As the founder and chief mission officer of Hariharan School of Success Education, HSSE as we call it, established in 2009. It's an 11-year journey. In fact, in November, we will complete 11 years as an organization. And it's a baby, right? You created something and you feel so passionate about it because you have to bring it up now. So, and I've gone through this whole cycle of learnings that have happened over these last 11 years. And I'm going to share some of my insights from that. It's more like a storytelling session than really telling you what you should be doing, because it's for each one of us to figure out our own ways and processes. And my learning, Dilip, you want to say something, ask something? Is there something you want to ask? Yeah.
Oh, there's something that just came to my mind. You were talking about the first year is always good. It's the subsequent year which creates challenge.
Yes.
So I was just recalling that, there's a very wonderful example that we used to be using at times.
Right.
In parajumping.
Yes.
It's a very, interesting sport, adrenaline filled and a lot of adventure and all of that.
Yes.
And the first jump happens.
Absolutely.
The first jump happens.
Yes.
But it is after that first jump that you know what lies ahead.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You can jump, the one who can do, then becomes a parajumper.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, there are many who back out after the first one.
Correct. Yeah. Thank you, Dilip. Thanks. That's a beautiful insight. And it's about, are you as enthusiastic in the 11th year as you were in the first year? Or also, I would go a step ahead and said, are you more enthusiastic now in the 11th year? And not necessarily because you were very successful, because success is a very relative thing. And how do you measure that? And I always believe that success is a journey, not a destination. So from my experience, when I look at freelancers today, and I feel for them, I admire them, and I also feel for them, because I know that in these pandemic times, life has really become difficult for everyone. Whether you are a working professional of any kind of work that you're doing, any profession, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a freelancer, life has become really tough. However, there is an opportunity in this adversity. And we at HSSC are very aware of this adversity as well as the opportunity, and we have been trying to do something around that. So I will also share some ideas around that. So I'm really here to talk to you about what are the 5 things that I feel if you could implement in your business as a freelancer, as a freelance trainer, to be very specific, could create some value for your life, create a larger level of success for yourself. I think the first step is to have a mission for what you're doing. Do you know why you get out of bed every day? And I know many people leave their jobs to become a freelance trainer for the wrong reasons. And what are those wrong reasons? I don't like to report to anyone. I don't like this boss of mine. I think this company does not understand my talents at all. I know how to conquer this world. I will go out and do it. Now you are actually not wanting to be somewhere, and that's why you want to be here. I would rather say, while I'm not denying that that's also a trigger, that also plays a part in your life, but you should be more wanting to be here than not wanting to be there. You get what I mean? Your desire to be here has to be much more strong than the desire not to be there. That desire not to be there is also important, otherwise you may not take the plunge. But that cannot be the driving force to come here. Now, what typically happens when people do that is they go back to a job. Because their temperament is not for being an entrepreneur. Their temperament is not to go and source business.
Right.
So the most important thing is, and because the temperament is always to get the salary on time, the temperament is always to work within a constricted environment. And I'm not saying that is wrong. In fact, I've come to admire a lot of corporate professionals since I became an entrepreneur. I look at the way and say, wow, I admire this guy, the way he's grown in the organization. He's taken a path and he has to make a lot of compromises every day, but he's ready to do that. And he's somehow able to survive and grow. That's a different path. This is a different path. And the paths are not comparable, but you can learn from each path.
So when you say the mission,
Yes.
I think the destination for the path that you choose,
Yes.
if that is not clear, then
Absolutely.
you are just getting from one place to the other without knowing where you are up to.
Absolutely. And okay, I mean, there is another dimension to it. When I jumped, I really did not know my destination. But I knew that this is the road I have to travel.
Right.
And once I got onto that road, then I have taken everything that's come my way. I have had smooth rides, I have had potholes, I have been literally thrown off the road, and then I had to climb back, I had to find my way back. So, everything has happened. So, and it's continuing to happen. It's not that, and it will continue to happen. And that's my realization. So,
I think interestingly, when we look at it, even in the corporate life, there are all the pros and cons. There are the pits and the troughs and the crests that one lives through, and people sail through. Probably one of the reasons is the month-end salary that strikes
right.
the account. And as an entrepreneur, that cushion is missing.
Yes, absolutely.
And when that cushion is missing, the purpose has to be that much more strong to ensure that this happens.
That keeps you on the path.
That keeps you on the path.
So strong that it keeps you on.
The challenge here that I see most people, encountering is that cushion missing. And, and today, this pandemic has put a lot of us, those in the corporate life as well, at par, because that cushion is not really there.
Absolutely.
None is sure about what happens tomorrow, and none is sure about continuance.
In fact, many people have told me that you have such a risk appetite. Many people are in jobs have told me that you have the ability to take such a risk. I can't take that risk. I always tell them your risk is higher than mine. The reason is your life is not in your control. And I'm not saying this with any ego or any boast. But the fact of the matter is, and there's nothing wrong in being a job. Please do not misunderstand what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to compare the two paradigms. So I'm just trying to say that when you're in a job, a lot of things are not in your control. Are you okay with that? If you're not okay with that, the only other option is to become an entrepreneur. But you may not be ready to become an entrepreneur. You may not have the skills. You may not have the temperament. Then are you ready to learn? So you choose your freedom. There is a certain level of freedom. Here, there is a certain level of freedom. So if you don't know your mission, and if your mission is only thinking that somehow I need to make more money than what I was doing in my job, or I need to keep the freedom and I need to make some money and I need to go through, then I think it's not a very satisfying experience. But if your mission is to make a difference to people's lives, like my mission is to help ordinary people become extraordinary through the power of fun-based learning. That's a very clear-cut mission statement. And I live, I breathe, I eat, I think that mission every day. And that's what helps me sail through the many challenges that have come and they keep coming. I was addressing a group of finance professionals a few days ago. And the person introducing me said that, I have seen Hari struggle and what he has gone through. And, after 5-6 years, you get a grip on it. I started my lecture by saying that even if you're the richest man in this world or you're an entrepreneur, your struggles never end. Initially, you struggle because you're not getting work. Then you struggle because you have to manage the work that you get.
True.
You have to deliver that work. Right?
If the mission statement is clear, then you know what you're up to and where it leads to. And therefore, the journey becomes that much more bearable and easy. Not easy, but yes, it keeps you on track.
And
Second,
Dilip, it took me close to 7 to 8 years to get my mission statement in the way that I am saying it to you right now. I have gone through variations in my purpose statement, vision statement, mission statement. It took a certain amount of coaching. You know, it's when I had to undergo some kind of a business coaching program for me to be able to frame it. Though it was very much on those lines, but then to give it that clarity. So it takes time. So it's even more difficult to live through a journey with confusion where where somewhere you know this is what I want to do, but I'm not absolutely clear about how I want to language what I'm doing. So it takes time sometimes. And I think there are much more smart people than me in this world.
you learn by the ropes.
Yeah, absolutely. You know,
You learn by the ropes as you move ahead, and one should be willing to do that.
absolutely.
My
Right?
the highway doesn't get you any headway.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's a journey. And you know that I'm very passionate about, even within HSSC, we talk a lot about the journey. We hardly discuss numbers and goals and goalposts and milestones. We talk about the journey. Are we enjoying the journey? And if you are happy doing what you're doing with whatever money you get, and I know life is not as simple as that. It's not just about you, it's about your family also.
True.
It's about their aspirations also. It's not easy. It's not easy. But whoever told you that being a freelancer or an entrepreneur was going to be easy? You know,
That's where the think like an entrepreneur comes in.
absolutely. So that's my next point, which is you're going to learn to think like an entrepreneur. I take some education. The initial part of my journey was I did a lot of reading around that. And I very highly recommend Robert Kiyosaki's books here. And one of the great takeaways for me from that book on cash flow quadrant that he has written is, and it really stayed with me. I read that book in 2009, and I wish I had read it while I was still in a job, you know, but I read it once I left. And he talks about 4 types of people: people who work for others, who are employees; people who work for themselves, who are self-employed; where people work for you, you are an entrepreneur. You have a system that works for you. And then there is your investments that work for you. So you're an investor. Now, where you need to invest your time, money, effort is to, you took the first step as a freelancer. You moved out of employment and you moved into self-employment. Now that's a big trap. Self-employment is a big trap. At least in employment, you had somebody, a boss to monitor, to keep a check on you, to give you a salary, to mentor you. Here you are all alone, absolutely all alone. And if you are not disciplined and you are not working hard and you are not trying to build yourself to the next level, which is to have people being associated with you. If you're not, and a lot of people get stuck there in their life. And they just, so it's a catch-22 situation. I'm not able to make things really happen the way I want them to right now. And I also don't want to go back to a job.
It's like you don't get promoted, you don't like your boss, and you change your job, but that option is not available here.
Yes, here that option is not available. And here you have many bosses. It's a misnomer that if you're an entrepreneur, you have only one boss. No, your team is also your boss. Because they have opinions, they have ideas. You have to respect that. You cannot just do everything that you want it your way. Your customers are your boss because they expect delivery from you of the highest quality. Right? Your family is your boss because they're all the time keeping an eye on which way your journey is going.
Yeah, I think the greatest challenge comes in handling the criticism or the comparison that comes from home.
And I have had such amazing experiences when I quit my career and I started as an entrepreneur. When I actually started as a freelancer, I have now become an entrepreneur, actually, if you ask me. You know, so although we like to call ourselves as entrepreneurs, but we are actually self-employed people. A lot of people are self-employed. They are not entrepreneurs. But that's a step towards entrepreneurship, for sure. At least you have the courage to say, I want to lead life on my terms. That takes a lot of courage, you know. So there have been so many experiences. So I was a fantastic trainer in that organization. You know, people used to respect me. They said, wow, Hari is a great trainer. But I don't want to tell you, but a couple of instances which were very bad experiences for me as a trainer. And the kind of feedback that I got about my training, it was a shocker. And I said, This can't be true. I can't be bad. I cannot be bad. How can I be bad? I'm Hariharan Iyer. So one of the things that you got to understand is that as an entrepreneur, you got to put your ego in your trouser pocket, not in your shirt pocket, because it hurts. Because it's very close to the heart. And anybody and everybody will give you feedback. How much you want to take and not take is your choice. But you got to keep your, the Ganesha's ears. You have to keep it open. People will tell you, and there are some really valuable things that you get to listen to. And it's a journey. It's an adventure in itself. And you don't know which way it's going. And there are no formulas for success.
So as I make it, there would be errors, there would be mistakes, and you need to keep
Yes.
making those course corrections and moving on. And I recall somebody having a take on the word entrepreneur, saying that you enter, you prune, and then you err.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead, enter, prune, err, and that's the only way you can make progress. And that's why the word entrepreneur is there.
Absolutely. So, this is something very important to understand. You got to acknowledge that you are not as good as you thought you are. And you've got to accept your mistakes. And those mistakes were the greatest blessings of my life, because it transformed the way I looked at training. It transformed the way I looked at audiences. It transformed the way I'm now building the training business. So it's an incredibly wonderful experience.
Would it be right to say that once you start analyzing all that, and when you go through that, you start looking at where you can get supplement or where you can get help, which
Yes.
makes good for your errors or your shortcomings or failings, and therefore start collaborating with people who can fill up those gaps.
And find yourself a mentor.
Self-employed, you become an entrepreneur.
Because you need a mentor, and you need mentors, not one mentor. In an organization, when you're working, your immediate boss is your mentor. But here you need multiple mentors, because it's an open journey. Corporate life is a closed journey. Whatever needs to be done happens within this alley or within this valley. Here there are multiple valleys that you're dealing with.
So there are all these mentors. They also are, keep you accountable.
Absolutely.
So what comes next is sales.
Absolutely.
Numbers.
It's difficult. I'll tell you why. Because you become an entrepreneur because you have an ego. And it's not a wrong ego. That ego is which says, I want to lead a free life. It's almost like it's a spiritual decision. Because you want to be free. So that ego, it's not a bad ego, it's a good ego, but it can turn into a very bad ego if you are not ready to keep the mirror in front of you all the time. And you go through various experiences. You go through a self-transformation journey in this whole process, I think, which is really beautiful, but it's painful.
Brilliant.
It's painful. And a lot of people are not honest to themselves. And I think that's a problem. You know that the world is not very honest with you. And many people exaggerate their successes.
But then the numbers will ultimately show up. And that's where the sales part then comes into the picture.
Yes. So where do you get stuck as an entrepreneur or as a freelancer is sales. And I wish I can talk to you on the subject of full day now. Now, I so often get calls from people who say that I'm a wonderful trainer, I do great sessions, I would like to be your faculty. Now they're absolutely assuming that my seats are filling up for all my courses, and I'm actually asking people to go away, and I'm telling them seats are booked for 3 years. It's a dream, right? I wish it happens to me also one day. And they think that I am going to get them people and they will deliver the training. So finally I found that godfather, that man, that company which can sell my programs. I put it back on them and I say, I will mentor you. I will teach you sales. You have to do the selling. Then they back off. And I realized very early in my journey that, and thankfully I worked for an insurance company and we learned selling and taught selling every day. So it was in the system. Though I have never been a salesperson myself, I started my career as a journalist. So it had nothing to do with sales. But I adapted.
So then it
And
was time to practice what you preached.
yes, and I immediately implemented all the things that we taught our advisors. And I said, you're an advisor now. So it's all great to be a great trainer, but who's going to listen to you? So it requires, and that's the most painful part of the process. And let me tell you, somebody might think you become capable enough to hire 20 salespeople and then they do all the selling. You still, your headaches don't end there also. You have to monitor them, and they will fail. So you have to support them. You cannot keep sacking people, hiring people.
Chicken first again.
Even the biggest of companies are always talking sales every day.
True.
Even all the e-commerce sites, they have sale. You know, I think there are days when you have a cheap day, or you can get at a concession. There is a week where there is a sale. So sales is there all the time. You may not like to do it, but you have no choice. And if you don't fall in love with the things you dislike, mark my words.
The bigger the company, the more it is there.
Absolutely. If you don't fall in love with the things that you dislike in life, you are unlikely to get the things that you really like. And unfortunately, 70% of what you do has the time goes into doing the things you don't like. Like we do our entertainer certifications regularly. So it's a 2-day program. But to get those people for 2 days, whatever the number is, 10, 20, whatever, it takes a month. And you're delivering for 2 days. That means 98% of the time, you are doing the stuff which you are not really enjoying. I mean, how I wish I could do an entertainer batch every day. It will happen one day. You say, as my friend says, Hari, the future is always bright.
I think that applies to almost all the activities, and we should learn from nature also on that. If we like all the fruits, they don't grow in a day. If we like to eat tasty food, doesn't get prepared as soon as we can eat it.
Absolutely.
So I think, that's something which is a nature.
Right.
And when we want to go against nature is when we face the music. And therefore, the sooner we realize that and we get into the act, I think it makes more sense.
So I think I urge all the freelance trainers here, you have to learn selling. I'm sorry. And we at HSSC are encouraging trainers to collaborate with us, not so that we can sell for you, but we can help you to sell for yourself. And if you're associated with us, to sell for our products also. And we can work together and build a collaboration. Now, the choice that all of us have is, do I want to build something which is completely unique? It's mine. I have to build a platform. It's most important to have a platform for success. You may have all the talent in the world, but you need a platform. Either you build the platform, you create the platform like I'm trying to do. For me, my company is my platform. So I'm building the platform and creating a platform. Or you associate yourself with somebody who has built a platform. It's up to you what works for you. But we all need a platform, because as a freelancer, you are a lonely.
Either create or outsource.
Yes, absolutely. And you are lonely in life as a freelancer, and that's no fun. It's beautiful to work with people. The only thing I missed in my entrepreneurial journey was my team that I used to handle when I was a manager myself. I really missed them a lot. And I said, and I told myself, you've got to build an organization where there are people, where you can work with them, they can work with you, where you can agree, where you can disagree, where you can have healthy conversations, where you can have vision conversations, and where we support each other. And I think somewhere I've got there to some extent, and I'm trying to build that up.
Every time you say people, you bring a big smile on my face, and
it's all about people. I know that's
I do agree to that. And
right?
so that now brings us to scalability. I think people are very important when it comes to scalability.
Yes.
And as you rightly said, from solopreneur to a self-employed individual to an entrepreneur, the journey is in collaborating with more
Yes.
people who can fill up the gaps, who can work together. There is a synergy,
Absolutely.
which is vibrant and which takes things forward. Brilliant. So scalability, and then we come to the next point now. And that,
So
I
what
suppose,
is scalability? I mean, it's important to reflect on what it's all nice to say you have to make your business scalable, but what is scalability? Scalability is the ultimate in scalability is what Warren Buffett says, that you make money when you're sleeping. So
you
that's the
start
ultimate
building passive income.
passive income. Yeah, but it's more than passive income. I think it's more about building a model,
A system.
a system, and a legacy, and something that lives on after you leave this world. And I think that's what true entrepreneurship is all about. If it's all about only my desires and my family and my money, my success, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying it's not a it's a good life, but it's not a great life. And great life lies in giving something. So I always dream about this. 100 years from now, will HSSC still be around? Then maybe it will be around, maybe it will not be around. But what's the harm in thinking?
True.
And would somebody, some generation of mine, just imagine, it's a very funny situation right now. 100 years from now, there would be my photo with my garland on the wall, and they said, this guy founded HSSC, And people say, yeah, it looks very interesting, man. And I would be completely irrelevant at that point of time. Once I leave this world, I'm going to fairly become irrelevant. But my work should remain relevant.
The idea remains, the process remains, the system remains. And
Yes.
legacy is not for self, legacy is for everybody who gets associated with you. And
Yes.
once you start working with that idea of abundance and
Absolutely.
expansive
It's an abundance approach. Absolutely.
and the expansive mindset
Yes.
is when you get the associations right, and is when you get the movement right, I suppose.
Absolutely. Now, where is the challenge in scaling up? Now, let me address that. One is sales. And let me tell you, sales is a problem that never goes away from your life. Breaking news. So, am I here to tell you, do this and your sales problems are sorted? No. Your sales problems never get sorted. They are always there. They give you company. They are your shadow. They are always there.
You need to wish that they don't go away.
Yeah. I mean, why should they go away? It's only because you sell, you get more people to make a difference. And you've got to, if you believe in your mission, then sales is nothing but a communication, and a passionate communication that I'm doing this program. Would you like to register? Would you like to register? Would you like to register? You have to be really persistent and passionate. But the other problems, and I find this with the freelance community, is lack of products to sell. Now, you cannot scale unless you have multiple buyers and multiple stakeholders for that one product, which you are specializing in, or you create multiple products which can reach multiple people from different segments, and thereby you also create multiple stakeholders. I have chosen the second path. And I was very often advised when I started my entrepreneurial journey. I was always asked a question. You do motivational talks, you do corporate training, you do leadership, sales, team building, yes, written communication, yes. What's your focus? I said, not to be focused. My focus is not to be focused because I know what I'm doing. Because I want to build a learning mall. And I want to taste all the products. And I want them all in my mall. And because of that, we are now sitting on a basket of 100 products, close to 100 products, 100 programs, which we can roll out because of this lack of focus. But was I not focused? I was focused in my own way because I knew where I wanted to go. Today, the strength of HSSC is the innovation. The strength of HSSC is we can create a product in our sleep. But who will sell? You come back to the same problem, isn't it? You can have 10 products, but who's going to sell? And if you don't sell your own product, and you don't bring up your own child, who else is going to do it for you? It's a very fundamental question.
True.
I've always looked at business from an emotional perspective, not just from a profit perspective. It's something I own. It's something I create. So your challenge of scalability comes from lack of product line or a very robust model to scale up your one or two products that you are good at. And I think you've got, today we are not living in a time where you can afford to be a hardcore specialist. You have to be a specialist, but you also have to be a generalist. It's not an either or situation. I have a specialization of my own, but I'm also a generalist. I can adapt.
I call it a multi-core specialist.
Yes, multi-core specialist. Now the last point here is, what's the most important element in an entrepreneur's journey is adaptability to situations, to contexts, to the things that happen around you which you did not anticipate, like the COVID. I mean, we never in our wildest dreams thought shaking hands with somebody could become a problem in life. And we are so cautious now when we go out. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, it's unimaginable. I have not met my friends for so many months now. I haven't taken the public transport for so many months now. And I don't know how long that's going to continue. So the big shift in learning that has happened is towards e-learning. It's towards digitization. And many people think digital training is only conducting webinars. It's much more than that. It's about, and it's a beautiful opportunity to create a legacy. We are always worried about, I created something, who's going to buy it? Maybe people will buy it much later. Sometimes some people become famous after they leave the world. That also happens. That's not in your control. Create it. Put it up there. Do your best to market it. Do your best to sell it. Go digital. Learn the digital way of training. It looks like, so you can never say with surety what will happen in life, but it looks like that this is the way forward. Hybrid training, some physical, some digital. And in digital, two ways, through webinars. For me, a webinar is nothing but a substitution of a physical classroom training. There is no difference. E-learning is a self-mode learning, which as a country, perhaps we are not so ready for it, but it's a catching up trend. And now organizations will look more and more at learning management systems, LMSs, e-learning platforms. And very luckily, thank God for that, Dilip and me have been able to create that platform in this pandemic. So we are ready with our system in place. And one of the reasons that I'm also sharing all this is because I am looking to work with people. I'm looking to support freelance trainers who can also support us. We support each other. We want to offer you that platform. We have a process. You can talk to us. We will share with you what the process is. And I can tell you one thing for sure. I don't know how much money we all are going to make now, later, whenever. But if we are ready to work hard, I assure you, 24 hours a day is less. That's the level of work that we can do in the L&D space. So to quickly summarize, have a mission, think like an entrepreneur, learn selling, focus on sales, scale up your business. To scale up, you need products and a platform. Either create your own products and your platform, or align with somebody who has created products and a platform, and you can scale up. And we have a scalable model even for our associates. So we offer them an opportunity by which they can set up their own independent HSSC, within HSSC, right? So to say, okay. And finally, the importance of going digital and the importance of getting onto the e-learning mode and learning how to make e-learning courses and learning how to sell e-learning courses, learning the importance of learning management system, and learning the importance of creating e-learning content. It's a beautiful way to leave a legacy. In a physical classroom, you reach 25, 30 people. But through e-learning, you can reach millions. That's a potential. But of course, there's no magic wand that I put a course and millions are watching.
Realizing the potential is where you need to work on.
Yeah, so you need to, it's a journey and you need to keep working towards it, right? So thank you so much. I hope I could add some value.
There's an interesting take on the digital platform. Like you were saying, there are many people skeptical about whether it is going to be lasting or,
Yes.
So there is nothing that is going to be lasting. Things will always keep changing, and that's what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
At the same time, currently in the near future, this is what seems that will work. And the point is, if somebody can do it, can I do it or not?
Yes. Yes.
If I can answer that question in the positive, then I think I'm sorted.
And I think the world does not belong to the ultimate optimist or the pessimist right now. It belongs to the great survivor. Right now, if you know how to survive and you got to go through this phase, then you are much better placed to be able to then go towards your dreams and because you got to give some time for the things around you to change. But you need to be there floating. You need to be floating when things start turning around. The things will turn around. That's the nature of life.
Absolutely. So it was brilliant, Hari, talking to you about all these
Thank
5 points that you had enumerated, and you brought it out pretty neatly. And I think there are a lot of message for people. And yeah, time to take action.
Absolutely. And if anybody
As,
wants to get in touch with us, you
as I
can.
learned in the
We'll
entertainer
put the email
certification,
ID in the link.
as I learned in the entertainer certification, knowing is nothing,
Doing is everything.
doing is everything. So
Absolutely.
I think that is one lesson that everyone needs to take from here,
Absolutely.
as important as
And
anything
I
else.
just want to say that we are here to support. We need support. So I don't want to sound like I am the guy to support you. No, we need support and we want to support. And we want to collaborate. And we are looking at like-hearted people to associate themselves with us. I don't like to use the word like-minded because mind can change, but hearts stay connected. So we're looking for like-hearted people. So feel free to get in touch with us to know more about the work that we're doing and how we can help you. The times are difficult, but we can reduce the impact on all our lives by collaborating, right?
Absolutely.
Right. So thank you. So Dilip, are there anything that you can see in
There are
terms
no
of comments
queries
on
or
this?
questions that have come up.
Okay.
What I've done is I've posted your email ID,
Right.
which probably can also be added, and other details can be added as you go and see the watch party again.
Right.
Otherwise, I think we've had a great conversation. It's been a great evening, and you've only woken up the sales aspect in me all the more again. So I hope it works and try and do our best. Thank you
We
so
have to
much.
be selling every day. No choice. So
Thank you so much.
thank you.